I remember it vividly, that fateful night when I found myself driving alone down a desolate road. The moon was hidden behind a blanket of dark clouds, leaving me surrounded by an inky blackness that seemed to swallow everything around me. The only source of light was the weak glow from my headlights, casting long, eerie shadows that danced along the edges of the road. As I gripped the steering wheel tightly, a sense of unease began to settle in the pit of my stomach. The silence was deafening, broken only by the hum of the engine and the occasional gust of wind rattling the branches of the trees. I could feel the weight of the night pressing down on me, suffocating me with its suffocating presence. Suddenly, I caught a glimpse of movement out of the corner of my eye. My heart skipped a beat as I turned to look, but there was nothing there. The forest that lined the road was dense and impenetrable, its twisted branches reaching out like gnarled fingers. I dismissed my paranoia as nothing more than my mind playing tricks on me, but the unease lingered. Minutes turned into hours as I continued down that seemingly endless road, my eyes scanning the darkness for any signs of life. It was then that I noticed a figure standing on the side of the road, illuminated only by my headlights. I slowed down, my curiosity getting the better of me. As I approached, I realized it was a woman, dressed in tattered clothes that hung loosely from her bony frame. "Are you all right?" I called out to her, my voice wavering slightly. No response. She stood there, unmoving, staring straight ahead with empty eyes. Goosebumps prickled on my skin as a chill ran down my spine. Something wasn't right about her, something sinister. I tried to shake off the feeling and continued on my way, but the image of the woman lingered in my mind. Just as I thought the worst was behind me, a dense fog began to roll in, swallowing the road ahead. Panic set in as my visibility decreased to mere feet. The world outside my car became a blur of white mist, obscuring any chance of navigation. My heart pounded in my chest as I desperately searched for any signs of the road. Then, emerging from the fog, a blur of red appeared before me. I slammed on the brakes, skidding to a halt just inches away from the back of another car. It was an old, dilapidated vehicle, rusted and decrepit. I couldn't understand how it had appeared so suddenly, or where it had come from. A wave of dread washed over me as I realized I was not alone on this deserted road. Shaken, I got out of my car to inspect the situation. The other vehicle seemed abandoned, its windows cracked and covered in a layer of grime. There was no sign of life, but an eerie silence hung in the air. As I turned to return to my car, I caught sight of movement in the rearview mirror. I froze. Standing beside my car was the woman I had encountered earlier, her face mere inches from mine. Her eyes bore into mine, filled with a haunting emptiness that sent shivers down my spine. I stumbled back, tripping over my own feet in my attempt to get away. Her expression morphed into a twisted grin as she slowly raised a pale, bony finger to her lips, signaling for silence. Terrified, I sprinted back to my car and sped away, leaving the haunting figures behind in the fog. My heart pounded in my chest, adrenaline coursing through my veins. I had never experienced such fear in my life. As I drove away, I couldn't help but glance in my rearview mirror one last time. What I saw still haunts my dreams. The woman and the abandoned car were nowhere to be seen, replaced instead by a bleak, empty road stretching into the darkness. The images of that night continued to invade my thoughts, reminding me that some encounters are best left in the shadows.